Welcome to our first episode of MicCheck, where we drop the
Drop the
mic.
mic. So we have two guests with us today, Nicole and Valentina. So what were your classes today? How is school? How's school been in general?
Tiring. I feel like that's the only word. It's so weird because like the day ends shorter, but it feels like so much longer because you're sitting. It's so weird. Like staying sitting is like tiring, but it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I feel the same way, but I think I like having all of my home amenities accessible to me. I have a study hall second period, and I haven't had a study hall since my freshman year. So it's like I wake up at 8:30, and then I go and walk my dog, and I've never thought I would ever walk my dog in the middle of the school, so that's pretty nice. And yeah, I mean we're all getting used to it. It's different, but it's exciting, and I'm just excited to try this out for the first time.
Yeah, I will say I have a home study second period too, so I don't have to get up until 10 a.m., which is so nice. And I just sleep until like 9:45.
That's so great. I
Yeah.
always feel like sometimes like a lack of like motivation because it's like it still hasn't processed me that this is school, this counts, like this is going on
Yeah,
our transcript, we're getting a grade for this.
for sure.
How did you
Yeah.
guys feel last year with online school?
Or like senior year?
No, when you guys were juniors.
Oh, I mean, for me, I didn't really think much of it. I was just kind of like, eh. Actually, I know a lot of people said like the first week or when it was first announced that we would have like a 3 week spring break, that they knew it was like the last day. But for me, I was just like, spring break. So it didn't really register to me until like they actually said, oh, we're not going back to school. But I feel like I don't know. I think for being a senior, it's a bit different than being a junior because like senior is your last year. But honestly, I don't really feel like a senior now because we're just at home.
For sure.
Yeah. For me, of course, like everyone else, I was excited hearing we're gonna get an extra week of spring break. Well, like 2 extra weeks actually. But I remember March 13th. I think the week after was the commissioner elections, and I gotta miss out on that. And I have a whole bunch of wristbands that I never ended up passing out. And then the week after that, I had outdoor science school because I love doing outdoor science school as a cabin leader. It would have been my third time. And then I think the week after that, it was supposed to be our actual spring break. And March was supposed to be like my victory lap for junior year because it was so treacherous in the first half. But I thought the second semester was going to get better. But after things started with quarantine schooling, I was really stoked to hear that we'd have the either pass or fail or traditional grade system where your grades can't drop from the third quarter. And unfortunately, like the classes I was really hoping I'd have an A in by that point, I didn't have an A in, which were my two APs, AP Physics and AP RO. Not AP RO, sorry, AP Lang. AP English Language and Composition. I love Miss Yarrow. She was my teacher. She's so great. But we just have to go through the motions, and I was happy with how I did by the end of the year. I did good my AP tests, and yeah, really things don't feel much different. Like I agree with Nicole. Like I don't really feel like a senior yet. Not having this first day of school where you dress up with all your friends or color day or probably not gonna have homecoming picnic is kind of a shame. But you know what? We're all here. We just have to do it.
Yeah, for me, I'm just hoping we have an in-person graduation. Like, not to shame the drive-through graduation, but I prefer, to have that whole ceremony thing. I think that's really cool. But that's just like the minimum, I hope. But I mean, you can't like know for the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Relating to sports, how do you think that this entire situation is gonna, I don't know, like set the element for the whole season?
Well, it's like right now, this episode is being filmed on September 2nd, so if anyone's watching later from now. So CIF, what the word is that we'd start our season on December 14th, which is quite a while from now. But I think that's great for seniors. And actually, I think it's just great for everybody, having more time to get accustomed to all of our teachers and everything. But also, as I said, great for seniors because for most people who will be applying to Cal State or UC, our college apps are due November 30th. I believe that's the date every year. So pretty much having the entire first semester off from football gives me like an extra 2.5, sometimes maybe even 3 or 4 hours, like more every single day, to get work done. So that's amazing. Having all of that time to get my apps done, just so much less stress. I'm super thankful for it.
And Nicole, how do you think the outreach to get people to join your club or just clubs in general has affected you?
Yeah, no, it's a lot different, and I think maybe a bit harder, because I think a lot of people, like last year, we got a lot of freshmen joining through Club Rush, and so now that we don't, it's kind of hard. And also for Tassel specifically, we usually try to do recruitment for new teachers every school year, and so trying to hone in on the underclassmen that want to continue all 4 years, or sophomores who want to continue their last 3 years. I think it's really important for us. And so right now, we literally just spammed like the entire class of 2024. Like we just followed every single person. So I think also we did that for sophomores. So if you're a freshman or sophomore listening to this, join Tassel.
So you guys are seniors now. So how has your whole entire journey from like high school been? I mean, it's crazy. You guys next year at this time will be in college. That's so insane.
That's so weird to say. Like, I was telling this to my friends, but like I'm currently 17, and I was telling them like although the transition or like when you turn 18, it's just like 1 year. I feel like it's so much different because like legally you're an adult, but it's just like the responsibilities, and I feel like the social construct of being 18 is just like a whole new level from being 17. So it's crazy to say. Also, like moving to dorms, like that's so weird. And living on your own. I think it's just like it's a new chapter, but I feel like for me, I'm willing to, step into a new place in my life.
Yeah, I mean, definitely huge change from freshman year all the way to senior year. I mean, just like Nicole said, just ask yourself like, how much have you changed in 1 year alone? And I mean, the answer is definitely huge. So 3 years, well, I guess this being the fourth is definitely even crazier. It's I remember coming into high school, I was I was happy with who I was by the end of the 8th grade, and but I still had this pressure that I put upon myself, like, oh, okay, but you know what? I'm going to start high school now, and I'm going to be like more of an adult. So I let this pressure get to my head, and I unfortunately really sought after popularity and clout for my first year of high school because I felt so lost not being in the same environment I'd been in for the past 3 years. And I did a lot of questionable or just outright wrong things. Yeah, it's like let me pull out my speaker notes. Yeah, just to feel popular or like get attention from my peers, I did a lot of stupid stuff. I went trespassing in the places I definitely shouldn't have been. Sometimes I went to inside of a store and like stole ice cream with my friends because I thought it was funny. Or like also unfortunately, when we talk about peer pressure, we always say it's like our best friends who are actually the ones who get us into doing things we don't like, but we always deny that to extent. Like, oh, how could it be my best friend who I know so well be the one who pressures me into doing something like drinking or smoking? But unfortunately, that was exactly what I had gone through, and like saying it in my head back when it happened, I really denied it. But now that I'm here and I'm more wise, I guess I definitely see how I was foolish enough to do things like that. And yeah, I think, it's like that struggle to find yourself in high school. I mean, there's such a big pressure to do that, but truthfully, I think deep down inside, most people already knew who they are and like what they want. But it's the struggle is how do we express that with people comfortably? And I think after all these years and thinking about it, there really isn't a way to comfortably like express who you are. You just have to do it. And I think having that epiphany as I've gone throughout high school is one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. I'm a lot more happy with who I am, like just being able to say it, like when not feel pressured, just because I know it's like we're all different people, and it's like we don't have to hold ourselves to any specific standard because our life is only normal to us. So it's like who cares what other people think? And yeah, I mean that's kind of been my growth throughout high school.
That's really good insight, honestly. Like, I think when I went to, or coming into freshman year, it was like for me, I put this like self pressure to, I don't know, to aim for this like facade of like this person that really has their thing to like everything together, in all aspects of life. And it's so crazy because like looking back, it's like I was like what 15, 14, and I'm about to turn 18 in like February. So it's like I think I've dealt with this like throughout my whole life. It's just like I kind of downplay my age and I'm like, oh no, I'm mature. I know what I'm going through. But in reality, it's just like, no, no, you don't. You're like 14. You still have like room to grow. But I think it's just like, I think high school, as much as you may go through downfalls, I think those are the steps that need to be taken in order to, really find who you are. That's really cliche, but honestly, I think sometimes the truth can sound cliche. Like for me, it was like academics, it was sports, it was I don't know, other stuff like music. It was just like to get everything like in check. I thought like by 15, 14, I had to had, every single thing done. And the truth is, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's all a learning process, even when you turn 50. Like it's always a learning process.
For sure.
Mhm.
Do you guys have any like really funny stories from high school, or like things that you just thought were like really dumb or stupid things? Maybe some embarrassing moments.
Oh my god.
Man.
Do you know what? You go first.
All right. So for reference for all of the fans watching, Maya did reach out to me a while ago and asked me to prepare for some of these like questions and stories and write stuff down. But truthfully, now that I'm looking at all my notes, everything's kind of depressing. Uh, I don't know. I mean, you know what? Here's a cool story, I guess. Not necessarily funny, but this is super corny, but I'm very proud of this story. Back when I was in middle school, I don't think I actually mentioned I play football. Well, anyways, I play football. Uh, Back when I was in middle school, I loved coming to the high school games. And at halftime, when they'd walk all into the locker room, all of the players, I'd always run down from the top of the stands to reach out and give everyone a high five. And then they'd all look up at me and give me a high five too. And I thought that was like just so inspiring. I mean, I know it's just like a small gesture, but I think it's the small things that really could like lighten up someone's day. And uh, so when I first came to the high school, I'm a long snapper, and if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. Just another position on the team. I really fought to get a spot on the varsity roster, and unfortunately didn't get it my freshman year, but I did get it my sophomore year. So I remember it's like we're playing Mountain View High School week 1. It's a home game, and I mean, sounds so corny, but man, dude, it feels really cool being under those Friday night lights and just the atmosphere and all the hype around it. It really is legit. And but I remember at halftime, like when we were all walking into the locker room, I saw the kids, all these middle schoolers who I didn't even know, like people that just thought I was cool because I was on the varsity like team and just playing. And just looking at them, making eye contact, and then giving them a high five, and then seeing their their eyes light up. That was really like one of the most cherished high school experiences, because it's like, I mean, really, I mean, we talked about like age a minute ago, like what really different, what big of a difference does it make? But it's like for some people, like especially a middle schooler, I guess, like when we thought of it, it's like, oh, it's everything. So being able to brighten up someone's day, or like really have a special moment with someone who you don't even know, just for like, even if it's just a second, that was awesome. That was probably one of my favorite memories on the football team. Actually, I think it is my favorite.
That's so cool. I mean, I only did sports for the first 2 years. I did water polo, which was so much fun. Because before I only did swimming, but going into water polo, it's like such a whole new. It's so intense. It's like combining swimming and basketball and just like it's insane. Like I think specifically with girls water polo, I've noticed that we play a little more dirty in terms of like scratching people and like yanking on suits. It was just a whole new experience. And I think one thing for me, I'm personally a night owl, and so having to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, or no, not every day, but every other day, and then coming back after school, it was just crazy. But I think I really learned a lot, time management, but also I got to, meet people I would have never thought of talking to in my entire high school career. And I think that goes back to, if you're a freshman or sophomore or whatever grade you're in, like don't be afraid. Just be open-minded and don't limit yourself. I don't know English.
No, that's so good. It's like really weird to like look back and realize like things that now may seem like insignificant, like back then looking at it was like
Yeah, I think it's also cool because like with Tino and I being seniors, a lot because I've been in the school district since I was in the first grade, and so seeing people that I've been in class with since I was what 8, it's like this whole decade is it's just really cool to see how we kind of go into our own paths and find our own interests.
yeah, I have this like wall in one of our in, like the living room and it's just covered with like all of like remember the class photos in elementary school and we would all like our parents would dress us up and then we'd go and either like a like those mini bleachers sort of things. And I was looking at it and it's like it's crazy to think so in kindergarten I'm 5, I'm 16 now. It's like insane and I see people I'm either really good friends with now or just haven't talked to for like 3 years. But it's so weird to know that like we've known each other for or a good amount of us has known each other for like almost 13 years when we graduate high school. That's a crazy amount of time. And we've grown so much. We're going to college. We're going to major in things and get a job after.
Oh man, that's a lot to unpack.
Like Nicole was saying, it's kind of eye-opening to see like how you've been friends with someone for so long, and if you do end up not talking to them anymore, seeing where they end up, or like how everyone kind of forges their own pathway. It's I don't know, it's really inspiring in some ways, getting to see that people can fulfill their dreams or just like again like start something new and fresh and be like successful. Like it's really I don't know, it's pretty cool.
If you don't mind me asking, like, what colleges are you thinking of going to, or like, what are you thinking of like majoring in, like, profession wise? Like, what direction do you guys like see yourself in like the next couple of years?
Oh, well, I do have some colleges I'm looking that are like my top choices, but like I don't want to say just 'cause like if
Don't
yeah,
I should just
no, but I really want to go out of state. I feel like for me, I'm really what I don't know. I just like what's the word? It's like wow, I really don't know English. It's like I love exploring. And so I just love new challenges. So I feel like growing up and living in California, especially SoCal, literally my entire life, I just want something new. Um, and I don't know, I really want to go out of state. And as for major, I'm leaning towards like political science and like politics, ethics, economics, that kind of area. I'm really into that.
Oh, that's cool. Wait, so you said you didn't want to share what college you're
No,
thinking
well,
of right
like,
now?
I don't know. It's just like if I say it, then it's like
You
I
don't want
don't
to
know.
jinx it or something?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's
But like,
fine.
don't like you share if you feel like it.
All right.
Don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
here. Don't feel
yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, since like middle school, I think Mr. Bronsicorn was probably the teacher that inspired me to do this, but I really want to be a teacher and I want to major in education because of that. So, I guess I'll explain why first. I've always, had a deep like passion for like helping out the community one way or another. Like that's why I've done outdoor science school in ASB and then be a part of the football team. Like I just really want to be a part of the community in one way or another and help it out wherever I can. So I think teaching's great. Also, there are a lot of benefits. I get 3 months off. That's pretty cool. But yeah, it's just like knowing, like being able to see someone struggle with a problem and knowing that I'm able to, or anyone else is able to help them out with it, and then have them be able to do the same thing for other people. I think that's one of the most gratifying experiences, uh, like as well. And so I'm thinking to get an education degree, I'm looking at San Diego State, and they have a program where it's like you could get your teaching credential and your degree in 4 years versus like an extra fifth year. Or if I don't go to San Diego State, I'm hoping UC Davis, and then there I would actually major in chemistry because they don't offer an education degree, but they do offer the minor, so I'd minor in that as well. And which subject? Chemistry, as like I just said. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've always kind of been more interested in STEM. Like I used to really like history, but I thought the high school level there wasn't much time to digest or really take in all the information. So, yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do: STEM and be a teacher.
That's so cool. I remember Mr. Bighorn. I had him in sixth grade. He's like the best. I remember there's like that feud with Mr. Bighorn and was it Miss Shannon
Simonian.
or Miss Simonian? Yeah, I always remember. It's like, oh, I have Bighorn. I have Simonian. Yeah, but that's really cool. I'm like the opposite. If anyone knows me, like they know that I completely hate STEM. Not to like, not to, not to like bash you. I completely respect you. It's just like for me, I've always been drawn towards like the humanities, and I think it's kind of cool how we kind of share this desire to help people, but we take it in different aspects. For me, it's like I am like when I've always been like invested in the news and when I read of like situations like detainees at the border or when people can't pay their rent and they have to choose whether they I don't know pay rent or like feed their kid or send them to school. It's just like it's like they're so helpless and they don't have a voice to share what they're going through. And for me, that's kind of why I want to go into politics because it's just a way for me to represent the people that really need their voice to be heard. And I feel like that's a place I've kind of found throughout high school and just following my passions.
For others who are interested in going to a career similar to what you guys are looking for, like what volunteering, like high school volunteering experiences do you think that they should like participate in, or maybe what classes do you think they should try to push their transcript more towards liking?
Well, for like the humanities politics things, I feel like South Pass emphasizes a bit more on STEM because you have like AP Chem, AP Bio, all that. I actually found out this past year about like AP Human Geography, like those types of things, those types of APs that aren't offered. But I feel like I wouldn't limit yourself. Like, even if you want to go into politics or whatever, I think you should still, like, just if you want to do something in the STEM field, but also want to go into politics, like, don't be afraid to do that, especially if you're a freshman. I genuinely, like, encourage you to not limit yourself. I feel like you should definitely explore what you want. But if you do want to find some volunteer activities, I would just say, like, to reach out to, like, any nonprofits or any organizations or clubs. Join Speech Innovate, a little plug there. But for me, I do original advocacy. And so it's kind of going back to the whole like using my voice because I get to talk about an issue that I genuinely care about. And so this past year, I talked about education inequity. And I used my whole like the whole thing that I surrounded was I quoted what was it, the Pledge of Allegiance, and so there's a line where it says liberty and justice for all. So I kind of use that to counter and say like, no, is it really liberty and justice for all when we see these certain instances constantly in education? So yeah, that's one way to do if you're interested in politics. But yeah, just do whatever you want, honestly.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, the thing is, like, I would actually, kind of alter your question, or, well, I don't want to say disagree, but
No,
don't
no,
do
no.
things.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Don't do things for the sake of a transcript or to, like, appeal to anyone just to make it sound like you're more dedicated towards one thing. Do what you want to do. Seriously, just do that. Like, for me, like, if you really know you want to be a teacher, because truthfully, like, I have, like, had the idea since middle school, and I had all of that time to, like, really think about it, and all of my freshman and sophomore year to, like, think about it too and, like, put it into practice. And I know that's what I want to do, right? So I was able to put myself into classes that luckily we offer at the high school. Like, I was an academic coach. And for the class of 2024, unfortunately, we're not offering that this year. But basically, it's not exactly a TA where you're just their errand boy or person and you're just getting them coffee, but you actually get to work with other students and go over problems with them. And I loved, loved, loved doing that. And I did it for chemistry for a year and a half. And then for my second semester junior year, I actually worked in the library one-on-one with a special needs student kind of as their mentor. And it's like, that definitely sounds weird at first. And like it sounds like, for most people, like truthfully, it is kind of an uncomfortable subject, but really like doing that was probably one of the best things I did. And also, like, just to add on before I move forward, it's like I didn't really plan on doing that. That kind of just happened. So go with the flow. But going back to the story, it's like, I was able to overcome so much prejudices that I had and like be able to build this connection with the student I worked with. And it's like I feel like I'm a different person because of it. And I'm so thankful like that I did it. So yeah, definitely don't try to target things just for the sake of like saying, oh yeah, so I could write my college essay, so like I've done all these classes. Really just do what you want, follow your heart. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest shames in like the American education system. We've like indoctrinated people into thinking like just to like follow this specific path and to get into this big really prestigious school versus following your heart and doing something that can really benefit society. Because I think we've left a lot of people like after high school like, oh okay, I don't know what I want to do, I don't know where I'm going to go to school, and I'm going to take this major that sounds really interesting but it's super hard and I'm not even really a big fan of it. So I mean, just do what you want. I mean, I know for me specifically, like some people like, oh, but you want to be a teacher, that doesn't pay very well. Truthfully, like, okay, sure, it's not going to pay you like a doctor or something, but when I talk to other teachers, they're like, you know what, it's really not as bad as they make it sound. Just maybe like get your master's or something. Like that's the advice they give me. Like, so just follow your heart. I mean, I don't like the idea of doing something just to appeal to a certain category, or like if you're a college essay and saying, oh yeah, here's all the courses or things I did to prove that I want to do this, because truthfully, so what? Most people change their major like 2 years into college.
Yeah, I completely agree, like 110%. I think, especially the environment, the competitive environment at South Pass, we kind of limit ourselves in terms of what we want to do, just so like, oh, if I want to go be scientist, I only can do AP Bio and AP Chem, and only, it's just like you limit the scope of the opportunities available. And yeah, I completely agree. And also, like, if you're interested in education and teaching, like Tino, don't join Tassel because, sorry, another plug. But the entire, like, the second semester, you get to work with kids in Cambodia. And so there's two different versions. One of them is a writing program, so it's kind of like a pen pal, which is really cool because you get to interact with individuals from across the world. You also get to, another position is like a VC, so it's kind of like a Zoom. But yeah, if you're into teaching, also, if you don't know what you want to do, but are kind of like me, where you want to create something of your own, and that's kind of how you learn rather than someone teaching it towards you, yeah, don't be afraid to create something of your own. Actually, sorry, another plug. But my friend and I, we created this program called Know Your Rights. And so both of us were really into politics. So we created this thing because this upcoming November, a lot of people are going to be voting by mail. And so with this whole U.S. Postal Service thing, we want to make sure that people know how to vote, regardless of if you're able to register to vote or pre-register. If you guys are interested, go ahead and register.
Do you guys have anything, or what were the other things that I talked to you guys about trying to mention? Anything else? And we can just head into that.
I think you asked me like kind of just like the basics of Tassel, kind of like introducing that. Do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so the Tassel Club here at SPHS is part of a larger international organization that focuses on changing the lives of underprivileged Cambodians through English education, teaching, job creation, food, medicine aid, and sponsorships. And so the reason why we focus on the people of Cambodia, just a little quick history lesson, but during the Cold War, one of the proxy wars was in Cambodia, and the country was ruled under the regime of the Khmer Rouge, which was led by Pol Pot. And so essentially their whole goal was to convert the entire country back into an agrarian society because they rejected like the capitalism and free market of the US, which was kind of the whole thing of the Cold War. And so because of this mission, anyone they thought was educated or intelligent was targeted. So this led to a mass genocide with 25% or about 2.5 million of the population dying between 1975 and 1979. So that includes 90% of all teachers and 90% of all doctors. So that's like it's not even inflated, like that's the actual number. And so with the numbers that we see, like we see the lasting impacts from 40 years ago. And so with nearly all teachers being murdered during the genocide, only 5% of Cambodians know English. And the reason why we focus on English is because the key information in Cambodia, like college textbooks, current affairs, or news, or even foreign investors and aid, they're all in English. So realistically speaking, the only way for the people of Cambodia to get out of poverty is to learn English. So that's why a lot of our club members become volunteer teachers. And I think that's what really makes our club stand out, because you get to see the impact, like directly get to see the impact you're making, whether you're teaching or fundraising or both. So yeah, and especially now with coronavirus, it's especially harsh going through living their lives, because usually before, the families, not only do they suffer mental trauma, but like to get money, a lot of them go to Thailand to get money. But now that the borders are closing, they've been kicked out of the country, and now they don't have jobs and they don't have money. And there's also limited food supply. So now they're literally going out every day, risking their lives just to get food. And teachers, the teachers that teach in person in Cambodia, they not only serve as teachers but also as caretakers. And from May to now, they visited nearly 3,000 families, and it's insane. But the sad part is that they need, because of the limited food supply, they need to choose who gets the food and essentially who's saved and who's not. So like I know everyone's like financially like tight and everything, but if you have even $1 to spare, you can go to tasselcambodia.org. Or I know a lot of people are ordering stuff on Amazon during the whole quarantine. So there's a thing called Amazon Smile, and instead of using the regular browser of Amazon, you go to smile.amazon.com, I think, and then you can put in Tassel as an organization. So automatically, every single time you check out, a small portion of the proceeds go to the organization. So that's just a small way to help. But even if you don't have money but want to help them, you can follow us on the Instagram page at SPHS Tassel Club. Sorry, that was long.
That was really good.
It's all relevant information. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, is there anything else that I want to share? All right, I guess it's time to actually explain what I am. Like I said, I was the commissioner of school and community, but what does that even mean? I mean, basically my position in ASB, I host the blood drives and Pennies for Patients fundraiser. Those are probably the two biggest things that I'm doing. But I mean, Pennies for Patients, that second semester, so I'll skip that. Blood drives. We are having a blood drive with the Red Cross on October 28th, and then 4 weeks before that, I'll send out a link for anyone to sign up. And it's not just high schoolers; it's actually the entire community of South Pasadena is invited, and it'll be at the South Pasadena and San Marino YMCA. But I'll send more information about that later because it still is kind of in the works. Let's see, what else can I talk about? Yeah, I think right now in ASB, what I'm trying to get started with your Commissioner General, Lindsay Hirano, is a program called Small Business Sunday, where we will spotlight either a local restaurant or business or whatever in South Pasadena, probably on a biweekly basis. And we believe that this is still also very much in the works right now. SAT card holders will get a discount from a certain time period if they decide to go. And so we're trying to make the SAT card like useful again, because we know there isn't sports or all of that stuff, unfortunately. And I mean, that's about it. And in terms of like other stuff, I just wanted to get out there. Let's see. I mean, yeah. I mean, just what I said earlier. It's just for advice for anyone. Just like, especially the underclassmen, just don't try to chase after like popularity or clout. Just seriously be yourself. You're gonna be so much happier doing it. It's like, yeah, I know everyone wants to be like homecoming queen or whatever, like my sister. Anyways, yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, my sister won homecoming queen last year, but I'm pretty sure she cheated. And yeah, but it's like, obviously that's not really meant for all of us, and that's just it's not important. I mean, after high school, most people don't even contact like 10% of the people that they ever talk to. And I guess for you juniors, and I feel like that's gonna be a large portion of who watches, because the posts are juniors. Don't worry about college essays too much. I mean, I didn't really find out what I was going to write about like until this year. It's like, it really some of the most important things that happened to you in like your high school life, I guess, happened towards the end. So, I mean, just don't worry about it too much. Just really try to enjoy it. I mean, of course, still work hard, but don't kill yourself over things. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's all I really have to say.
I was gonna ask, are you still hosting voter registration drives? I know, like, I remember Akash doing it, um, but are you guys still doing it? Just out of
Uh,
curiosity.
Not that, unfortunately, I wouldn't know anything about that at the moment, but I could see if I could hopefully send out some sort of news or response from ASB soon. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's good. But going back to what you said, I completely agree. For me, I wrote about something that's kind of like occurred for a majority of my life, but like because of that, I didn't really know how to narrate it. And actually, I know everyone says to start early and start early, um, but like don't compensate time just for like the quality of it, if that makes sense. So like if you start early, but like you're so intent on like doing it early, don't like don't be afraid. Even like for me, I started around July and I have this doc of like 30 pages long of like
Oh, wow.
10. Yeah, it was a lot. It was just like every single draft I wrote, it was like 100 words, and I just didn't like it. I would stop literally at 100 words, and so I have this completely long page. But it wasn't until like this past weekend that I really finalized. So I know it's late, but I think what I'm trying to say is like don't be afraid to like, even if it's like a little late, if it's something that's true to you and that's how you really feel and you think that essay really embodies who you are, then go for it.
Yeah, actually, I guess I'll give an example because I just said like, oh, all the stuff I'm writing about happened like recently, and that's kind of broad. So everyone's like probably asking like, oh, okay, can you give us an example? So I guess I will. As I said, I want to be a teacher, and because of that, I feel like I approached my connections to teachers differently than most people, and yeah, Mr. Brown, unfortunately, last year when he passed, that was really hard for me. I mean, for some of the freshmen or people who weren't here at the mental wellness assembly, I spoke about it and how that really impacted me because I know he's not the most popular teacher, but I was close to him because he was my football coach, and then I just spent a lot of time in his class doing work, and yeah, that was tough. I mean, it's like for anyone who knows his son Christoph, he was a college freshman at the time, and he had to drop out and coach the team for his dad, and I remember one day going to the practices, I think the week of, I think he passed on a Wednesday and it was a Friday, they were having a practice. And the moment I saw Christoph, he just asked me how I was doing. And then I just said like, I don't know, I'm okay. And I asked him, he said he was doing great. And I was just so shocked and it was so surreal at the moment. And then I just started crying. Like just, I don't think I've ever cried that hard. And yeah, it's just some of the things that like will end up writing about in your essay or you'll end up writing about like you really don't expect it, like they just happen and then it's just like okay. I mean, not that I'm trying to capitalize off of his like passing obviously, but it's just like something that just real tragedy for once in my life. Like I've never dealt with loss, so that was something that really hindered me for a long time. But then like I guess like being able to speak about it, which is also really important, speaking about how you feel in high school. Like I know it's like no one wants to sound weak or anything, but doing that is so important. Find places to like express how you feel with people. So if you don't, it's so much harder. It's horrible. And I think I've been able to move on and do better after like the more I talking about it right now, it's like it gets a little bit easier every time, but obviously it's not like easy the first time, but just do it. I'm gonna quote Nike, just do it. Speak about how you
Yeah,
feel.
I agree. Like again, 100%. I think it's cool because um, we both kind of already are writing towards the end ish. I think for our essays, but we have different routes in the way we approached it, and I don't think that for incoming juniors or not incoming, but current juniors or like even freshmen and sophomores, like just like don't compare yourself. And I know for me, I was like really intent on like I need to write the perfect essay, I need to deliver it the perfect way. And so I kind of did in a healthy obsession to like I read a lot of essays, and it kind of wounded up me like, oh, if I had an idea, I didn't think it was good enough because in comparison to this essay that I really enjoyed it, you know. And so one, don't overread. That's not a word. Again, oh my god, I literally don't know English, but like don't overread. Don't like read so much, but also like just, you know, read a couple so that you understand like what colleges are looking for. But I mean, just write naturally. Don't force it. And you know, whether oh my god, I really can't talk. Whether it be like something that really happened towards the end of your high school or throughout your majority of your life, I mean, just be true to who you are and don't write in a way that's not natural to you. Um, and just like when you're writing it, don't think of anything else and just focus on what you're trying to convey.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Anything else that you guys want to conclude on? Any other fun high school stories? Any reminiscing about like winter formals and like maybe former proms?
I don't know. It's just like, I mean, it'd be cool to have those parties like winter formal and prom, but I mean, I personally don't think it's gonna happen, but we'll see.
But I don't know. Maybe like for I think the incoming freshmen might be able to experience
Yeah,
this
they're
is a
lucky.
couple years from now, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I wouldn't know. I genuinely wouldn't know.
Man, I really wish I had an appropriate high school story now, but I mean, I guess I don't.
No, I
All
didn't
right,
prepare for
I'll
like.
spit some facts for the homies out there. Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep this as PG as possible, but as real as possible. All right, high school infatuation couples, a dime a dozen, but the right one is like what do they say? 1 in 1,000. If you do the math, it's only like $8.33 for the right person. So you know what that means? They're not worth your time, man. It's like it's cheap. Love is cheap in high school. Don't deal with it. Just move on, find the right person after like high school. Like if you really feel connected to someone, of course, go for it. But I mean, obviously, like you don't need to get married in high school. Don't settle for one person just because you feel pressured to do it. Going back to everything I've been saying in this entire interview, oh yeah, I felt like I needed to do something for clout, for popularity, or to feel like I had some sort of like I'd made it in some sort of way because I had to complete this checklist. Just don't do it, man. Dude, dime a dozen, 1 in 1,000, $8.33. It's not worth it, man. It's cheap. Love is cheap in high school. It's yeah. Don't waste your time.
You just called out all the you just called out all the
Hey,
couples.
there are some happy couples. I'm not going to say names because I don't know if they want me bringing up their name now, but I have seen some happy couples. But you know what? For the most part, I mean, dude, in middle school, everyone was dated for like, what, 30 minutes or 2 weeks, and it's like, oh, okay, I broke up with them. Don't worry about it. It's not important, but I'm sure most people already knew that.
You know, like the emoji thing where it's like the eye and then the mouth and the eyes. It's like, you know what I'm
Sure,
talking about?
like just like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
wide-eyed one, the shocked one.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can. Let me see.
Yeah, just don't force like
Well, anyways, the people
It's
on the
that.
podcast can't see it. If we put
Oh
this on
yeah.
Spotify, the people can't. Oh wow, that one. Okay.
oh like
Yeah.
the cutesy all one.
Like the single eyeball with like the mouth and then the other.
Another eyeball.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the connection?
Oh no, I was gonna say like all the couples are like that. I don't know.
Oh,
That was
okay.
a
All right,
random
that's cool.
thing.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, I mean,
Just have fun. Do what you want to
yeah.
do. Just be
I mean,
safe.
even if you're in a, I mean, I'm not one to give relationship advice, but like, just do whatever you want, honestly.
Yeah, me neither. Actually, it was, yeah, I guess like maybe not listen to me. I mean, I've only been on like one date, and then I never talked to that girl ever again. Well, actually, more accurately, she never talked to me ever again. So.
Tina, did she?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Like we talk, but like barely. You know, it's like I mean, it's not awkward, but it's just love is cheap in high school. Don't worry about it.
Just like have fun, be safe. It doesn't really matter. Focus
Yeah.
on your grades. Focus on extracurriculars. Focus on your friends. If you have free time,
Yeah.
go hang out with people.
Okay. I guess there's one last thing I have to say. It's like don't feel like you have to commit yourself to things. Okay, you know what? Oh, actually, no, I am just repeating myself. Just like if you feel like, okay, here's an example. If you've been in like a club or like a certain sport forever, and you feel like, oh man, I really want to do this instead. Like, you don't have to feel committed to like stay with that thing forever. Just go. It's okay to break commitment sometimes. If you really feel more like comfortable or happier in another place, just do that. It's like back when I was talking about the story with peer pressure. Like, it was my best friend that got me to start smoking. Thankfully I don't do it anymore, but it's like I realized, what, is this a healthy friendship? Is this what I want? And it's hard, like, saying goodbye, but I had to do it because it was for the best. And yeah, I mean, it's never easy, but just do what you feel is really right for you.
Yeah. Everybody's different. Everybody handles certain things differently. Like, I just remember, like, freshman year, I think I went to, like my very first, like, high school party, and I remember they were, like, upperclassmen, and, like, so many things that at the time I thought were so bad and evil were just, like, so normalized. And I do feel like it's normalized now. Like, if you were to see things that you might see now, it's just like, oh, that's just normal. But
Just high school.
just high school. But, like, if somebody's doing something that you're not comfortable with, don't shame them. Make sure they're safe. Make sure they're fine. But, just you got to know yourself and not push yourself in, like, the wrong direction. If you want to try something because you want to try something, do it. Like, make sure you're safe, but do it. But if you ever feel like, am I doing this for myself or am I doing this because my friends are doing it? Then maybe you might need to rethink your friends or rethink what you're doing. But I don't think we're going to be having any high school parties anytime soon. So.
I don't know. I see some people in Snapchat throwing like 20 plus people parties. I'm not going to say names, but what is it?
No masks, no socially distancing.
Nope. Not at all.
Wear your mask. It's not
Please.
that hard. Any other stuff we want to conclude on?
No, I think we said like 10 things every time you ask that question, but I think I'm actually out. I mean, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed speaking today and getting to share all this stuff and listening to all of you guys' stories.
Yeah, thank you. It's really cool to reflect on our high school years and give insight to, incoming why do I keep saying incoming? Freshmen, juniors, sophomores, and even seniors. So
Yeah. Just before we leave, I'm going to take a picture of
Oh, okay, sweet.
So if you want to, I don't know, get props or something or do something funny, like, be my guest.
Oh, no. I think I already look weird enough in the SAC assembly video that's going to come out.
Okay, so everyone say cheese.
Jeez.